everybody! New setup, new room. Actually, it's my old room. It's my room that I have at my parents' house, because that's where I'm living now. Also, hat, cat ears, and new hair. Don't work so well. Also, my hair is doing a thing. My mom says I look like a cancer patient. I disagree. I think I look like myself with less hair. In case you were unaware, I have a second channel. On that second channel, I do vlogs. One of those vlogs was me and my roommate or ex-roommate Marley going to Disneyland, because Disneyland. Now, if you watch this vlog, I don't care if you do, if you don't, you might have noticed that there were a few rides that Marley and I had a little bit of a problem with. There were 3 rides that we found to be slightly problematic. I have them in my little handy dandy yellow notebook from me in 2012 that only has 1 page about AIDS, like just information about AIDS, and something that says Mom's Assignment, which is due November 15th of 2012. I never crossed it out, so I don't know if I got it done. Other than that, the entire notebook was blank, so I'm using it. Not that you needed to know any of that. The first ride that I particularly had a problem with was the Pinocchio ride. I understand that this was one of the original rides, or at least, yeah, probably one of the original rides. All of these rides are in Fantasyland, and I think the part of Fantasyland that's older is that main strip and the castle and the Matterhorn, and Alice in Wonderland was added later. So we're sticking generally around where the carousel is and all the little houses. Pinocchio. The story itself is a bit strange. I was describing it to Marley, and some woman in front of us in line asked if it was like Jonah or Judah. I'm not religious and I haven't read the Bible. The one where he gets eaten by a giant fish. It is somewhat similar to that, I think, maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Pinocchio does get eaten by a whale though. Spoilers. The ride itself gets dark really fast. Notice this is a theme. Pleasure Island. I know it's in the movie as well. It's creepy. Just the idea of Pleasure Island. Why did they call it that? Also going there and then doing whatever you want. That seems like a bad idea. You should have noticed that that was a bad idea. Inside the ride, Pleasure Island itself looks like Supernatural had control over a carnival. It's bad. The Rough House, terrifying. And I know it's supposed to be scary because it's not supposed to be pleasurable or fun at all, but it's really scary. Like if I was any younger, I would have been crying, and I like scary things. There's a lot of weird humor in it. Like there's one line in the ride where a boy is looking in the mirror and he's seeing himself turn into a donkey, and the caretaker says, "Fine, make a jackass out of yourself." This ride is for children. Do they not understand? The parents must understand. But that is just, I don't like children, and for me that's just going a little bit too far. Also selling the children. They are selling the children to a salt mine. Granted, the way that makes it better is that the children are now donkeys, but they're still selling humans to go work in a mine. Anybody else finding any problems with this? No? Okay, moving on. I know there's a tiny time frame to get the entire story in, but we jump from a jump scare with a whale and some lightning and some screaming to happily ever after, and if you wish upon a star, all your dreams will come true. What? How? I don't understand how we got from whale terrifying scary Pleasure Island to in a bedroom with a fairy. Did we apparate there? Was it all a bad dream? If you haven't seen the movie, or if you're 5 years old and you have really poor object permanence, you'd have no idea what just happened. You'd just be scarred for life by this ride. However, this abrupt ending to Happily Ever After is at least better than the next ride, which is Snow White Scary Adventures. It's also in the same general area of Fantasyland on the main strip. I'll get to the ending later. Let's go chronologically. Snow White, you jump right in. There's no, my prince will come, evil stepmother, run away, stab you through the heart. No, we jump in right away when she's sneaking up into the bedroom of the 7 dwarves house. Problematic movie, yes, but we won't go into that. Just, you know, going along and then you're in the middle of the story. You just enter in the middle. Okay, this will be the last time you see Snow White in Snow White's Adventures. So unless you are Snow White after you see her, then it should be more of the witch tries to fuck things up. After this one scene of Snow White going upstairs with a candle like this, it's just dark. It's dark. There's the witch. I'll get you. Oh wait, that's Wizard of Oz. They'll never recognize me with this disguise on. And then the evil trees, and then the running around, and then the climbing up, and then the and after the of the dwarves and the boulder and the and the lightning. Doors open, and on a wall in fancy script above any child's eye line are the words happily ever after and the prince and Snow White kissing. If you're a child or you can't read English, you have absolutely no idea what the heck just happened. There was some lightning, there was a witch, and then la la la. Even as someone who could read English, I was it took me a while to figure out what had happened. Marley, who had never been on these rides before or paid attention to them, was also the same way. If you want to see Marley's reaction, I have a vlog and then you can also see the rides. They'll be somewhere, I guess. The final ride is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I've never seen, I think it was a show or a series, maybe it was books. Apart from at Disney, I've never seen or heard of Mr. Toad and his adventures. So I can't tell you based off of the books or whatever it is. I personally have been on this multiple times and I still don't understand the storyline. So if you're a child who hasn't seen it, you're just gonna be whoosh. It might be fun though because it's a car you get to drive. I personally find it extremely terrifying. I don't know why any child would want to go on it, but maybe it's because I, being closer to an adult, actually I am an adult, kind of understand the implications of what's happening, even if I don't understand the storyline and why everything's happening. My theory is it's about an irresponsible driver gets drunk, gets in trouble. There's a scene where there's a bar. There's also some dynamite that blows up and somehow you don't die. There's a bar, you go to court, the judge says guilty, and then for some reason, I don't know whether it's like suicide or just you're still drunk, but you drive on train tracks towards a moving train. And then like obviously you die because trains will kill you but dynamite won't, obviously. But then you go to hell, like legitimate hell, like fire and brimstone and dragons and Satan and little imps. And then you drive through some doors and it's over. Is anyone else following me? Because I'm not entirely sure what, just what. And I understand most, I'm not sure about Mr. Toad, but Pinocchio and Snow White I think are based off of Grimm fairy tales, like Grimm brother fairy tales. So that explains why they're a little bit dark, because they're supposed to have like, the stories themselves are dark, because they're supposed to have like a message, you don't do this, you don't trust everybody, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what Mr. Toad's don't drink and drive. That's a good moral. These rides are so dark and so confusing, and I don't know if children can grasp that. And I know that they're old too. So I don't know. I just find them problematic, although they are still fun to go on and make fun of. The rides that we did not go on were the Roger Rabbit ride in Toontown, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland. So I'm not entirely sure if all of them are this dark and creepy and just problematic, or if it's just the ones that we happen to go on that have the shortest lines. That might be why they have the shortest lines. I don't know. I think they did the Winnie the Pooh one very well. But then again, there's nothing really dark in Winnie the Pooh. And I think they did Ariel very well over in California Adventure. But again, I can't think of anything that'd be particularly dark in Ariel or The Little Mermaid. I don't actually think from my memory of it that Alice in Wonderland is that dark. It's an acid trip, but it isn't dark. So if you have any more to add about problematic Disney rides, or if there's an explanation for why these Disney rides are the way that they are, please let me know down in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye!